Excuse me. Hey guys, it's Evan. I've noticed that I actually work really well in this light, and under UV light, it's calming to me and relaxing. So I'm jumping on. Part of me wants to still go through those paperworks, but at this point, I went through half of it. I have to compromise and start jumping into my assignments, my schoolwork. So that's what I'm going to do. I kind of got like this cootie vibe from going through those papers. There were very few, but some were from the shelter. So I don't know, just I didn't let it really meddle with my mind, but just gross stuff that I don't know, gives me the ick at this point. So around lunchtime, I'm probably gonna make my turkey sandwich with Cheez-Its and make a banana shake. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. Like in my title description, I was gonna put like, do I let people know about my case? But I'm doing exactly that. I mean, I don't have to shame publicly or name publicly. I'm this is the real deal. This is my life. So I just I'm working towards what I've always wanted through this process, which is just a sense of normalcy, like just a sense of one feeling safe and secure, and just getting things like stable in my life. And I don't have any of that, and it's been a long time since I've had any of that. And anyways, actually, I think I want to talk about yesterday where I left off. Ultimately, I was saying, elaborating on how throughout my case I have been able to, I believe God has blessed me because I've been able to navigate through those difficult situations. And since taking that course, I'm using my skills for good, but also I'm growing in my skill set, not just when it comes to extracting DNA, but also getting back into how like vehicle vehicles can soothe me and relax me and be safe. And so for me, like the one example I'm throwing out there was I recently saw the mattress murders, and I saw how that was handled. And I have I look at the way I look at life. Not many people look at life, and I that's like obvious. But to these people, they were scrambling while this man, they called him a spree killer. And I think that's kind of giving these people more credit than not taking away from the fact that he murdered people in those mattress stores. But that's not how these people think. And not that I know or have firsthand experience, but I do look at the forensic aspects of things. And I think when you see the forensic, like the factual, hard, tangible evidence, things that can be held, touched, I think me being so scientifically minded, I also see what is not there. It's like when something is there, there's the absence of nothing. So this man I don't think people could figure it out with him. I mean, ultimately they caught him, but he said finally that he felt that he had to do these things because prison is the only place he deserves to be or feels comfortable living. But I don't. I think when you literally translate it from a different language, I mean, in English it doesn't really make an impact, but in Spanish, if you translate what he says, it's like he felt that that's the only place he ever knew was jail. And so I've been homeless. I've been in a homeless shelter, and I know that the first thing they give you is a bed. So that's how these people think. Ultimately, funeral homes is a hustle. Homeless shelters are a hustle. What else? Hospitals are obvious, but everything can be made a hustle. You know, and so are jails. Jails are a business, and so I'd imagine they buy a lot of mattresses, and you have to think about the time frame this man was actually locked up compared to when he was let loose. So one of the victims said that he kept asking where are the keys, where are the keys, and he already had the key. He had a digital key fob in his hand, and he wasn't comprehending it. So he's there like, give me the keys, and the poor guy's like, you have the key. That shows how long this man has been behind bars. So in his mind, I'm just an example. I don't know when he was locked up off the top of my head, but say he got locked up in the 80s or early 90s. So in his mind, when he comes out into the general public, he still is living life like if he were in the 80s and the 90s. He doesn't know that vehicles at this point are touchless or, with a key fob to ignition to start. And I think that he targeted these mattress stores because in his mind, in those decades, almost every vendor, every store held like the cash teller, like they used the paper registers that printed out your receipt and they typed it. So in those registers, there was cash. And in his mind, I think he thought, well, where in town would have large amounts of cash that I can easily take out? And he thought those mattresses all day. That's all they buy. I would imagine is mattresses. I mean, at the homeless shelter, they needed mattresses. So he thought that's a place where they probably have a heavy amount of money on cash or on site, I should say, and wiped and clean. But little did he know that nowadays most people don't have those systems in place. Like at HEB and Target, or like at those types of stores, most of the time it's self checkout. And even when it's not self checkout, the registers are monitored and people, it's not like when he was before then, in his time, I guess, before he got sent to jail. So that's what I believe, and I don't believe that he had any remorse for what he did. I think that in his mind he thought, well, if I can't get caught, I'll just end up in the same place that I was. I had nothing to lose anyway, and that was the only life he knew. Is what I think he meant to say, not that he needed to absolutely do it so he can. I don't think that was his intention at all. I think, people don't take the time to sit there and really understand why an individual does what they do, especially law enforcement and lawyers. I think they just want to really obstruct the law to fit their own life or to their benefit. But if you think about the literal translation for what he said, in English, I don't think it came out right at all that he had to, I had to do this so that I could go back. No, in Spanish, he would say something similar towards, mm, like, that's the only place I know, or that's the only way I know how to live. So I believe that that is true. I believe he didn't know any other lifestyle than that life. He had been in there for so long that, what did he have coming out? He just began to live the life all he ever knew. And so I think that because I have been able, like, that's a perfect example of how I can use my knowledge of cars in crimes and help people. So that's just, I don't know, just part of my story, part of my life. The things that I'm able to see and comprehend that most people don't. And I'm just looking at those piles, but alright. It's 5 minutes past me starting my homework. Peace out. Hopefully I catch up.